You know what I'm saying?
Brother
He'll go like,
Shaka,
oh, yeah.
let me say this before I go. You are
Yeah.
one of the most dangerous brothers in our community. Why? Because he has been listening for a long time. And when you say something, he's going to say, wait, but you said this on this day. Here's the video.
And he's going to have the
He is one of the
documentation.
most dangerous brothers in our community. And so I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that Soneta's audience now knows about you. He was talking to me about Shaka, 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 Shaka. I thought he was talking about Shaka almost for a second. Because Soneta love him some Shaka Ma'at forever. So I'm just honored that now we have a more global. I know Rob Moore was kind of making a joke, but he was also making a comment. The reality is that this internet is going to allow Africans all over the world to connect on our interest, and that is powerful. That is powerful.
Yes.
I'm honored to be on. I promise I will communicate with you. I'm watching your shows ardently, Shaka. So whenever you would like me to come and chat with you privately or publicly, please let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hotep Senu. Hotep Senu Hena Senu Iti. Ren Ishak and the Gukemeda. Hope you're doing well. The title of this live stream is 20 Years Strong, Open Panel. Let me check the sound quality. Music was a bit low, so I put it a bit louder. So I'm going to check now. Okay, sounds good on my end. Now let's see who's in the place to be. Andrew Bun is in the place to be. Well, congratulations, thank you. Now, thank you for telling me the sound is good as well. Mark is in the place to be. He changed his thumbnail. Oh, okay. It looks like that artifact that I went through. I'm gonna share a link. This is an artifact, you know, from Canaan, if I'm not mistaken, and we do have a sun wing disc, and we do have a couple of Ankh symbols. One is clearly visible, the other one less, but I'm gonna share it. Bear with me. Just want to finish sharing those links. before I forget, if anybody know where I can find books from that author, then let me know in your own time. Dr. Wasim LCC. Sometimes his name is spelled SISI, So he's a urologist. I think he also has some credentials in a different field related to medicine. But if anybody know, tell me if anybody knows where I can find his books. I tried to look for them, I couldn't find them. Apparently, I only saw books of him in Arabic. He is from Egypt. JTV is the place to be, our brother from England. So let me look for that artifact. Found the video. I'm going to share it in the chat. So the video is called Hotep Shalom. The king of Judea had the Ankh on his seal in 800 BCE, 8 centuries before the Christian era, 800 years before Christ. The king of Judea had the Kemetic symbol Ankh, meaning life, manly, on his seal. Respect the king now. And you can see it. That's the new profile picture or avatar of the brother Marcus, who is a Hebrew Israelite. You see. So in this live stream, you have the links. You know how I get down. But this is the king of Judea's seal. You can clearly see the Ankh right here on the right. There is another one on the left that is less visible because this artifact is damaged. You can see the Phoenician writing. Some people call that, Hebrew, but to each his own. So Tar is in the place to be. Thank you. He also wrote congratulations. Yes, 20 years. Now, actually, now the background music seems a bit loud, so I'm going to reduce it a little bit. Okay. So we get the fair use disclaimer out of the way just in case. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Now, you do have the link to get on the panel if you want to. Just use a webcam, it's a requirement. So, I have started my website 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. If I would have had a child then, my child will be 20 years old today. And I've seen a lot and I've heard a lot. I want to thank the people who have supported me for all these years. The main people who supported me throughout the years are Black Americans. But I had support from people, I could say worldwide. That doesn't mean in each and every country on the planet Earth, but in many different continents, many different countries. Oh, there's a new comment, but I don't know why. Okay, so I am proud that the information that I have shared over the years will not make you look like a fool. People will not be laughing at you. We have Santos Flow. I think that person, you came around not long ago, didn't you? But you're not someone who used to be in the chat for like a long time. But I have a feeling that I've seen your username before, but he wrote peace and sun mutation is a wordplay. So I am very proud of that. I'm not claiming to be perfect. I have made mistakes in the past. I have acknowledged that publicly because it doesn't hurt me to admit where I am wrong. I don't think there's a single human being who was never wrong, who never made a mistake. That's one of the biggest problems that we have with those so-called teachers, whether they have credentials or not, you know. But for the most part, the majority of the information that I have shared throughout the years is accurate, is backed up, is documented. And if you share it, if you repeat it, people will not make a fool of you, people will not make fun of you, people will not laugh at you, people will not ridicule you. You have seen so many attacks, particularly lately, because there's a new phenomenon. And I'm being nice. We have some men or male thoughts, and you have seen many different males attacking me for another man. You have seen that, you know. One of them went to a superior court to file a restraining order against me. You know, he made a diss song yesterday about another quote-unquote conscious community member. Yes, he went to court to file a restraining order against yours truly. All of that because he made a mistake. He shared something that's wrong, that's inaccurate. He's not the only one, but that being said, it's a new phenomenon. Male thoughts, people who will attack you for another guy, and the other guy you have seen is a pathological liar. I have not said a single lie about him. And what's interesting is that you are aware that years ago, some people went against me, and a decade ago, some people were xenophobic and try to use my geographic location as a negative. How can somebody's place of living be a negative? Some people are weak, so they are looking for an excuse to criticize you. You have seen over the years how comfortable I have been with the claims that I have made. Now, overall, people took issues when I stated that there is no historical documentation for the Exodus story, right? We have Marco Brolo, who wrote Peace Shaka. I'm not familiar with that username, so it seems like you are new in the chat. Doesn't mean that you have not been following what I've been sharing, but thank you. So hold on, the Exodus story not being historical, some people took issues at that because they believe in theological writing. And you know, there are so many believers in that story. There are at least 2 billion believers of that story. Where are they? Marco Brolo wrote, "I'll never catch you live." Well, there it is. There it is. I actually did not plan on going live, but you know, I changed my mind. There's been a change of my schedule, so tomorrow morning I'm gonna double check. Yeah, tomorrow morning I'm not working. I will work in the afternoon, and I have an essay to finish, so I haven't been streaming much lately, but I still stream on a very regular basis. But if somebody wants to get on the panel, then feel free, whether you agree or disagree. You seen yesterday a Hebrew Israelite who ran. He's not the first one, surely won't be the last. But even if you disagree with me, feel free. I have no problem with criticism. We can dialogue. As a matter of fact, even if you don't like me, feel free to let me know. We just don't have to disrespect each other. So another claim that's been made is less popular than the Exodus story being historical. It's the claim that Prophet Muhammad was black. Now you've seen many comments, but there is not a single Sahih hadith that describes Prophet Muhammad as black. The Sahih hadith or ahadith describe Prophet Muhammad as white, and it clearly states that he was not brown. So according to the Islamic source, the reliable and authentic Islamic sources, Prophet Muhammad was not even brown. But yet you have some people who've been running around claiming that he was black. Some have claimed that he was jet black. How can you be jet black if you're not even brown? People usually repeat what they heard or what they read. It's very easy to copy and paste. And you've seen there was a guy in the chat claiming that he is fluent in Arabic, or let's say an Arabic speaker, because I don't remember exactly if he stated that he was fluent, but he said that he has knowledge of the Arabic language, but he remained in the chat. That's one thing that's important. People say that we are in the age of information. A lot of individuals will make you waste time. Can you imagine if I was dealing with all those anonymous and unidentified people? You have also seen very recently some Christian apologists claiming that the Ark of the Covenant was located. We had allegedly a picture. It looked like popcorns to me. But that's what they believe in. You also heard the claim that, the 5,000 chariots of Pharaoh's army that chased Moses were located as well. We saw a wheel under the water. And you also heard about the shrine of Turin and the blood of Jesus. They believe that there is the blood of Jesus on the shrine of Turin. 2024, this claim has been made publicly. Those two guys, or one in particular, but the other one, if I'm not mistaken, he believes that as well. They are not anonymous and they are not unidentified. They are adults. They did not seem, mentally challenged to me, but they went publicly and made that claim. So it is more interesting when people are not anonymous and unidentified. Now, the sad thing is that when you are non-Abrahamic, a lot of time, thank you, Tal. He wrote that shroud of Jesus was debunked in the 90s or so, LOL. See, sometimes I try to keep it simple. Those Christian apologies did not come back. But they have dated the shroud of Turin. And it's definitely not dated, in the first century at all. At all. But since Star wrote that, what I'm saying, let's just have a quick look. So I'm going to share the link in the chat. Added, the blood was tested and it didn't go back nowhere near Jesus' time. LOL. I'm not sure if it's the blood that was tested, but we're gonna read. The actual shroud itself was carbon dated. But we're gonna double check that. So this is the link on Encyclopedia Britannica, right? It says the same on Wikipedia, but Encyclopedia Britannica is more reliable than Wikipedia. Not to say that Wikipedia is bad, but safe to say that Encyclopedia Britannica is more reliable. Now, I'm going to go down. We don't need to read the whole thing. Oh, hold on. Oh, they don't have it here? For real? Hold on. There it is. It's actually the last paragraph. Well, the last paragraph, you can call it that. But look. Let me yeah, it's sharing properly. Now, Tar wrote correct the shroud, and he added the Catholic Church was against it being tested for years, but finally gave in, and it came back inconclusive. LOL, definitely inconclusive. I like that term. See, now we may as well deal with positivity. Then I guess it's better to say inconclusive rather than saying pseudo. It sounds better. In 1988, the Vatican provided 3 laboratories in different countries with postage stamp-sized pieces of the shroud's linen cloth, having subjected the samples to carbon-14 dating. When they say, oh, it's been carbon dated, all 3 laboratories concluded that the cloth of the shroud had been made sometime between 2060 and 1390. A millennia after Jesus. Make that make sense? How can it wrap Jesus Christ 1,000 years after his death? Marcus wrote, that's fake. Tar wrote, LOL. You know what I'm saying? However, some scientists raised doubts about the researchers' methodology. Upon receiving the results of the test, the Vatican encouraged scientists to conduct further investigations of the shroud's authenticity and recommended that Christians continue to venerate the shroud as an inspiring image of Christ. The Vatican, the smallest country in the world, knowing that the Shroud of Turin is dated scientifically a millennia, 1,000 years, over 1,000 years after the lifetime of Jesus Christ, they still encouraged they recommended that Christians continue to venerate the shroud. Now, we have plenty of artifacts from Africa. They are in museums all around the world. And people will disrespect you for looking up to this culture that did so many great things and that left so many remains. Some actually will call you Egyptomaniac. But nobody calls the people who talk or who believe that the Shroud of Turin wrapped the body of Jesus Christ after his death. Nobody calls them Vatican maniacs. And that's strange. And that a double standard? Isn't that a double standard? When people are Abrahamic believers, there are a lot of passes that they get. They get a lot of pass. So that was a sidebar. Don't exactly remember where I was, but it was stated in the chat. But keep it going in the chat, feel free. You have seen some attacks, you have seen some lies, some disrespect. And you see, when you stand on truth and principle, you can be comfortable and do your thing. Now, I did curse a little, because my family members were disrespected, insulted with profanity, lied on. My daughter, who's underage, spoke about sexually by a 60-year-old conscious community dude. You know who he is? And he's been supported by the Shrine of Isefet. You know what that is? Andrea is asking Tar and I, how accurate is carbon dating supposed to be? Well, can have a look. I would say it's probably accurate, give and take. A 100 years or so. But let's have a look. This time I'm sharing the link. You have it in the chat. See? So it's still Encyclopedia Britannica. Carbon-14 dating method of age determination that depends upon the decay to nitrogen of radiocarbon, carbon-14, is continually formed in nature by the interaction of neutrons with nitrogen-14 in the Earth's atmosphere. The neutrons required for this reaction are produced by cosmic rays interacting with the atmosphere. Radiocarbon present in molecules of atmospheric carbon dioxide enters the biological carbon cycle. It is absorbed from the air by green plants and then passed on to animals through the food chain. Radiocarbon decays slowly in a living organism, and the amount lost is continually replenished as long as the organism takes in air or food. Once the organism dies, however, it ceases to absorb carbon-14, so that the amount of the radiocarbon in its tissues steadily decreases. Carbon-14 has a life of 730. Now, I don't know what that symbol is called before the 40 years, i.e. half the amount of the radioisotope present in any given time will undergo spontaneous disintegration during the succeeding 5.730 years. Because it's 5,730 years, but because the carbon-14 decays at this constant rate, an estimate of the date at which an organism died can be made by measuring the amount of its residual radiocarbon. Carbon-14 method was developed by the American physicist Willard F. Libby about 1946. It has proved to be a versatile technique of dating fossils and archaeological specimens from 500 to 50,000 years old. The method is widely used by Pleistocene geologists, anthropologists, archaeologists, and investigators in related fields. So, we did not have an answer. Let's go to the people's favorite. Oh, actually, you know what? This is the University of Chicago News. You know what? It's all good. Then we may look at the people's favorite, Wikipedia. Danny Williams is in the place to be here. Congratulations on 20 years, brother. Dua Sen E. Appreciate that. Oh, the link is too long. Let me see if the first link works, however. Sometimes it does. Oh, hold on. Okay, it works. Oh, no, my bad. No. It's okay. No, forget what I said. You would just have it twice on my end because I'm streaming on both channels. So, where was I? I was here. Radiocarbon dating or carbon-14 dating is a scientific method that can accurately determine the age of organic materials as old as approximately 60,000 years, first developed in the late 40s. At the University of Chicago by Willard Libby, the technique is based on the decay of the carbon-14 isotope. Radiocarbon dating has been used for historical studies and atmospheric science and triggered archaeology's radiocarbon revolution. Now, what is carbon-14 dating? The invention of radiocarbon dating elegantly merged chemistry and physics to develop a scientific method that can accurately determine the age of organic materials as old as approximately 60,000 years. It is based on the fact that living organisms like trees, plants, people, animals absorb carbon-14 into their tissue. When they die, the carbon-14 starts to change into other atoms over time. Scientists can estimate how long the organism has been dead by counting the remaining carbon-14 atoms. The technique was developed in the late 40s at the University of Chicago by chemistry professor Willard Libby, who would later receive the Nobel Prize for the work. The breakthrough introduced a new scientific rigor to archaeology, allowing archaeologists to put together a history of humans across the world. But it had a significant effect in other fields too. Carbon dating has helped us reveal how our bodies work, to understand the climate of the Earth and reconstruct its history, and to track the sun's activity and the Earth's magnetic fields. Radiocarbon dating was also instrumental in the discovery of human-caused climate change, as scientists used it to track the sources of carbon in the atmosphere over time. You have a 2 minute and 18 seconds video. Maybe this is Libby. Now, how does radiocarbon dating works? It starts with cosmic rays, subatomic particles of matter that continuously rain upon Earth from all directions. When cosmic rays reach Earth's upper atmosphere, physical and chemical interactions form the radioactive isotope carbon-14. Living organisms absorb this carbon-14 into their tissue. Once they die, the absorption stops and the carbon-14 begins very slowly to change into other atoms at a predictable rate. By measuring how much carbon-14 remains, scientists can estimate how long a particular organic object has been dead. From there, the problem becomes how to measure the carbon-14. Libby and fellow chemists at the University of Chicago and other institutions developed techniques to purify a sample so that it emits no other type of radiation except for carbon-14, and then run it through a detector sensitive enough to accurately count the pings emitted by the decay of single atoms. A newer, faster method developed in the 70s works by using a particle accelerator to count the atoms of carbon-14. Radiocarbon dating can be used on any object that used to be alive. That includes pieces of animals, people, and plants, but also paper that was made from reeds, leather made from animal hides, logs that were used to build houses, and so forth. How was carbon dating invented? Carbon dating was invented in the late 40s by Willard Libby, a chemistry professor at the University of Chicago and a former Manhattan project scientist. Libby built upon the work of Martin Kamen, PhD 36, and Sam Rubin, who discovered the carbon-14 isotope in the 1940, let's say. Carbon-14 has has a half-life of about 5,730 years. That means half the atoms in a sample will change into other atoms, a process known as decay in that amount of time. Libby proposed the idea of carbon dating in the Journal of Physical Review in 1946. He further developed the concept with members of his research group and published more in Science in 47 and 49. Now, obviously, it's a bit long. Here it says a million-year-old sample contaminated by only a tiny amount of carbon could yield an invalid age of 40,000 years, for example. Trying to get an idea of the leeway. Well, we're gonna see the people's favorite. I'm gonna share that in the chat. Sam Fisher is in the place to be. He wrote Chekan Diop was the radiocarbon master. Well, he had something to do, with working with the carbon. But I'm not too familiar to speak on that. But I read the autobiography of Dr. Chekan Diop written by his son. I have it somewhere, so it was mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, in that book. Now I don't know why Marcus was pseudo. Now that's what what do you call pseudo? What is it? But anyway, let me have a quick look. Dating considerations. In archaeology. Well, I don't have an answer about how much years of quote-unquote leeway you can have for an artifact that's been carbon dated. Now, we had an example for something that's like millions of years old or a million-year old. But for things that are that are not that old, I don't think the leeway will be that huge. Or somebody might have an answer. But here, it's interesting. We have Dead Sea Scrolls. And it says in 1947, scrolls were discovered. Let me make sure it's sharing. Yes, it is. Scrolls were discovered in caves near the Dead Sea that proved to contain writing in Hebrew and Aramaic, most of which are thought to have been produced by the Essenes, a small Jewish sect. These scrolls are of great significance in the study of biblical texts because many of them contain the earliest known version of books of the Hebrew Bible. A sample of the linen wrapping from one of these scrolls, the Great Isaiah Scroll, was included in 1955 analysis by Libby, the guy who came up with carbon-14 dating, with an estimated age of 1917. And I don't know if you call that, I mean, I don't know how you call that, but it seems to me like it's like between 1917 to, does it mean give and take? Because it says 200 years. Oh, look at that symbol on another page. Oh, it's called a plus minus sign, indicating the tolerance or statistical margin of error of a quantity. So I guess you can call it more or less, but you have the link here, still on the people's favorite Wikipedia. Based on an analysis of the writing style, paleographic estimates were made of the age of 21 of the scrolls, and samples for most of these, along with other scrolls which had not been paleographically dated, were tested by 2 AMS laboratories in the 90s. The results range in age from the early 4th century to the mid 4th century, from the early 4th century BC to the mid 4th century AD. So we have an idea, but this particular dating right here, I don't know if it has something to do with carbon dating. But anyway, so somebody wants to get on the panel, feel free. Otherwise, keep it in the chat. The chat is open to subscribers only, so feel free. If you want to holler, if you want to say what's up. Oh, snap. It's okay, I'll check it after. Okay, well, it's getting to be quiet. Thanks to everybody that came through, that came to say what's up. Well, you will notice, there was a time when I was like that. There was a time when I would go live, and when there was no more participation, that I would end the live stream, and I presume I may go back to that demeanor. Take advantage when you see me live. I've been sharing accurate information. You've seen 2 PhDs, 2 people who hold a doctorate degree that ran from me, and I'm not making that up. I'm not saying that to brag, it is a fact. So you don't have to revere me, but you can appreciate that for 20 years I've been very consistent, quite accurate. So it is what it is. Nothing lasts forever, I presume. So thank you for stopping by. It's a short live stream, but it's good. Sometimes less is more. So I'm going to make my closing remarks. Stay safe, stay healthy. If I'm allowed to by the nature, I will definitely holler back at you. I don't argue, I state facts. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. If you do not think right, you will not act right. If you know better, you will do better. Do I to do on the hotel.
Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving medical nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So, those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Netia class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Netia lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Netia, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta Netia, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Netia classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class, and all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Netia class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/Ma'at Forever.